We are coming up on the dark moon, which is significant to Hecate. This is when Hecatean witches or devotees of Hecate will practice Deipnon, and I want to talk to you about what that is. So, the dark moon is the end of the lunar month, and it is the time when the moon is completely dark. So there's not even a sliver of the moon. So it is right before the new moon. And it's a liminal space, and Hecate is the goddess of liminal spaces. I have my notes, so I'm going to be looking down. So in ancient Greece, this would be the time that they would clean up the garbage that had accumulated over the previous month, do their sweepings, and then they would leave those sweepings as offerings to Hecate the filth eater. And I really like the Greek name, but I can't pronounce it. And I'm not going to try right. It's like Borophorus or something like that. I'll be doing some videos on Hecate's epitaphs, but let's get back to the dark moon. So they would leave those sweepings on an altar to Hecate, um, and it symbolizes the miasma, which is like the gunk and the garbage from the previous month, not just physically in the home, but also like personally. So it's a time of purification of yourself and your home. There was also a meal that was prepared for her, and that is what Deipnon is the meal that was prepared for her. And from my reading and my understanding, in ancient Greece, those who worshipped her would prepare this meal and leave it at a three-way crossroads. And it was thought to be given to appease the restless dead, which is part of Hecate's hoard. And also like the homeless and those that were not able to feed themselves, they were the ones that were probably eating these offerings that were left for Hecate. She is also the goddess of the marginalized folks. So one thing that I do when I remember that it is the dark moon, is I will offer her like red wine and chocolate to her, and I will leave that for her on my altar instead of a three-way crossroads. I live in the city, and there's really no place to do that kind of covertly. If you do want to leave an offering for her, like if you're out on a hike and you want to leave an offering at a three-way crossroads out in nature, make sure that you leave it, but don't leave garbage. Like don't put it on a plate and leave it out there, right? So I've done this before where I used a tortilla and I would put my offering on the tortilla, and I think at the time that I did that, I had rice cakes, I had an egg, a hard-boiled egg, um, and some unsalted nuts. And all of these things I made sure were safe for the wildlife. So if you're going to do that and put it outside at a three-way crossroad, just make sure that it's safe for the wildlife to consume. So you're not littering. She wouldn't like that. And if you leave an offering on your altar instead, don't consume it after, throw it away the next day. And you can make a three-way crossroads on your altar. You can either use herbs to make like a little crossroads on your altar. You can use like little twigs, pieces of yarn or string, and then leave your offering on the three-way crossroads that way. So tonight, for instance, I'm going to give her a little bit of port and some dark chocolate. I am going to make a little three-way crossroads using some herbs and salt that I'm going to put those things in the middle of for her. And I have 3 candles that are dedicated to her that are black, red, and white. So I will light those as I am putting the offering on my altar. And I also have a little prayer that I say when I do this. And that prayer is, forgive me for not looking at the camera, I got to read my notes. So here's the prayer. Hecate, goddess of the crossroads, hear my cry. Protect and guard me under your midnight sky. Hecate phosphorus, she who brings the light. Hecate trivia, bless me with your wisdom tonight. So that's the little prayer that I say when I am doing my Deipnon ritual. If some things that you can leave for offering, I don't know why I'm tripping over my tongue so much. Okay, so offerings that you can leave her: eggs, fish, garlic, honey cakes. So if I haven't made honey cakes, but I've used like those rice cakes and then I put honey on them to symbolize the honey cakes. Mushrooms, bread, candles. Candles you wouldn't want to leave outside because that's littering, in my opinion. She also likes things like service, volunteering at an animal shelter. Dogs are precious to her. Or service, volunteering at some kind of outreach for people who are marginalized and disenfranchised. So I've also given her my grief when my dad passed. That was an offering that I gave to her for a really long time. And there are times that I still offer that grief up to her. Might not necessarily be on a dark moon because grief doesn't work like that. I've also given her physical activity like dance or going to the gym, even. I have offered up to her as an offering. So, because that's taking care of yourself. And Hecate is really big on you being a sovereign individual, for you, really big on you taking a hold of your power and owning it and becoming your own person and taking accountability for yourself so you can be a better, stronger person. She is really big on that. And I do have some thoughts on doing a video about her, if she has called you, what you can expect working from her. Everybody's experience with her is different. And I will be making another video to go more in depth on that. Um, she is considered a dark goddess. I'll discuss that in my next video as well. I don't want this to be too terribly long, and I just really wanted to go over Deipnon, what it was, when it happens, and some things that you can leave as an offering for her and where you can leave them. So if you found this helpful, um, please think about subscribing. It's free. Leave a comment below if you are a devotee of hers, and let me know what you do for her on the dark moon. And until next time, I'll see you later.